Rock Your Biz. Rock Your Biz, where women get together to help each other grow their business. Networking, boot camp, seminars. Rock Your Biz with Tracy Sheldrake.
Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Tracy Sheldrake, and you are listening to Rock Your Biz on Whistle FM. Rock Your Biz provides opportunities for women in business to gain connections, refine their skills, and do business together. We offer networking meetings, seminars, and Facebook chats. Our next meeting is November 24th at 6 p.m. at the Stovall Museum. And our next Facebook chat is November 20th. And be sure to watch for all the details for our expo in February. You can check out all the details at rockyourbiz.ca, and we hope to see you there. Today on the show, we have Tammy Hudgin from Creating Your Presence on Facebook to help us out with using Facebook for business. Thanks for joining us, Tammy.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
I actually started using Facebook probably about 8 years ago. And I was working for a direct sales company at the time. And I looked at Facebook and said, I've got to be able to use this to build a business. So I started just really looking into what Facebook has to offer and learned all the ins and outs of it. And as I started building a network, different small business owners were approaching me and said, please teach me what you do. Right. So I launched a Facebook training business about 3.5 years ago. And I'm no longer in direct sales. The company had closed its doors. So I made the decision to focus full time on building my Facebook business. So it's expanded into a lot more than just the training.
Right. That's excellent. So social media is a really hot topic and it's difficult for many to navigate. How do you know where to start?
Actually, as a small business owner, you first need to understand each platform. So what's happening is small business owners are feeling very overwhelmed because they're trying to do every single social media site.
Right.
So really understand where's your target market sitting and determine what your first or your primary social media site is and then your secondary. So as a couple of examples, Instagram. Now, it used to be an 18 to 24 age group sitting in there, but businesses are now embracing it. And one of the biggest impacts is the fact that Facebook owns them.
Right.
So I think it's, I started to embrace it about 4 months ago. I gave in.
I'm not there yet. I'm getting there.
Yeah. But I gave in and said, okay, just do this. And it's actually been really cool. I've actually generated business from it, which I didn't expect.
Right.
So, and with it being linked to Facebook or owned by Facebook, it's really important to try to link those two accounts. So as a small business owner, I would recommend at least looking into Instagram. Then you have, LinkedIn, for example. It's a business to business. So ultimately, we all have to have a profile on there because that is where people go to find us. It's the first place they look. But how you use it will really depend on if your target market is different corporations. And then, of course, Facebook. And there's a lot more other social media sites out there. But the really cool stat that I have about Facebook that I love is currently there's over 1.3 billion active daily users.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's crazy.
I know.
So if we're not using Facebook, I think we're behind the times.
Right. So it's actually, you don't have to focus on all of them. We can pick one or maybe the one that suits our target market. Yeah. How do we figure that out? How do we kind of gauge our target market and which one that one should be?
Well, ultimately, you have to spend the time and sit down and determine who is your target market. And I always suggest that you do it from a top level and kind of come up with 3 main areas of target markets. So let's use real estate for an example.
Yep. Okay.
We have newlyweds. So those are our first time home buyers. And then we have, the parents who the kids have just moved out to university and maybe they're looking at downsizing. And then you ultimately have the seniors, the empty nesters.
Right.
Okay, so if those are my 3 top levels, I have to then sit down and figure out all the key words that make up that market. Once I know, male or female, age group, where they live, what they like to do, what's their hobbies. And then when I know that, then I have to look at each social media site and say, where are they sitting?
Right.
Okay, so if I realize that majority of my target market is sitting in Facebook, then you need to make that as your primary.
Right. So if I have time for Twitter, I could do that.
Absolutely.
But is it, you really need to be consistent and stay on them. So if you're not going to use one consistently? Do you suggest not be on it at all?
Well, no, at least have an account because, you'll pop in once a month.
Right.
Right. Like my LinkedIn, I would love to say that I'm active. I have a great profile, but I'm not active on it.
Right.
I might pop in once a month.
Right.
But it's key for me to have it. Now, Twitter, I have an account, but honestly, I can't remember the last time I really looked at it. There's no benefit for me to be using Twitter.
Now, for you, do you say that because it doesn't have your target market, or just because you focus so much on Facebook, you decided to stay there?
Well, Twitter is a tough one because what's happened to Twitter, it's now really focused on what's trending. So what is happening right now, this second in the world, that's what people are talking about.
Right.
So, and it's full of your actors, your actresses, and all the young kids are now gone to Twitter.
Right.
Right. So they're in there and they're focusing because they're following those people. So that market has really changed, and the commitment to Twitter is huge. Like if you're not tweeting 20, 30 times a day,
absolutely,
nobody's even seeing you. A one tweet a day is going to do nothing for you.
Right.
So you have to determine, if my market is sitting there, then I have to be consistent. I have to master it, and I have to embrace it. Spend the hours that I need on there.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, are we on Facebook just because everybody else is on Facebook? What's our reason for being on Facebook when it comes to business?
Well, actually, that's where your clients are sitting.
Okay.
So for me, even though Facebook is my business, the reality is for me to build, there's tons of groups sitting in Facebook from a networking standpoint. So even your Rock Your Biz, even though you do different events outside where we go and we can meet and network in person, you also have groups on Facebook for us where we can continue to build the relationship. So my thing is that what I love about Facebook, it's a true social site.
Right.
Right? Compared to all the other ones. So I get an opportunity to at least sell me. I get to build relationships. I get to interact. I get to ask questions, sell my personality, that kind of thing. And nobody ever criticizes that. Like you can't do that in LinkedIn.
Right.
Right? That's the reality. It's professional.
Right.
So with Facebook, I think every business owner at least needs to have a business page on there because it's massive. I mean, when you're talking 1.3 billion daily, then you need to understand where your business page fits into that.
Right, because I can see with Twitter, you have to constantly be posting to keep them engaged. But with Facebook, even if you're not posting that much, they can find you.
Exactly.
And find out your location, how to contact you.
You could even do, if it's truly not your target market, you could even do one post a week on your business page, just so you have some type of visibility.
Right.
What I don't want to see is if I go to your business page and there's been no activity for 2, 3, 4 months, that's just going to have me turn away and go look elsewhere.
Right.
So even if you can do one post a week, just so you have an active business page, but really it's really getting into the different groups. I met with a group today, and we were talking with this one lady who her main target market is not-for-profit groups. Right. And so she was focused on LinkedIn, which makes sense, but I had her do a search in Facebook for non-profit and not-for-profit, and she was shocked at the groups that are sitting in Facebook on that. So I said, you need to get into those groups and focus on finding out who is the chair of each one of those organizations, because they're your target market.
Right.
So they may be sitting on LinkedIn, but if you utilize the groups and sell you and build the relationship, now all of a sudden you have a target market sitting in Facebook.
So when we know we need to spend quite a bit of time. It's not that easy to find your target market. You really got to sit down and figure that out. Once you know, let's say, so we're going to focus on Facebook here.
Yep.
So you're on Facebook. Let's actually get into the groups. There's so many groups. There's the buy and sell groups. There's the networking groups. There's the regular what's happening in these towns groups. How do you know what to post in each one? Like, you don't want to inundate everybody, right?
Right. So first off, though, when you get into a group, there are always rules. Right. There's a description. It's down the right-hand side of the group. You need to make sure you read the rules, because some of the groups have restrictions, what you can and cannot post, especially when it comes to promoting your business. So once you know exactly what you can and cannot do, you have to then decide, is this a group of true value? Okay, there are a ridiculous amount of groups, and most of them are useless, right? So figure out which ones are of value to you, and then start networking in that. And we can talk further about some ideas of what you can post inside those groups.
Right. Okay. So, just, I'm here with Tammy Hudgin, and we're talking about Facebook for Business. So we're getting into some groups and some do's and don'ts and what's going on. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with that. Thanks.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
You asked, we listen. It's Rise and Shine, Stouffville.
Good morning. This is your wake-up call.
Weekday mornings starting at 5. We kickstart your mornings with great music,
Hey Jude.
local news, local traffic. Oh, did we mention great music? It's Rise and Shine, Stouffville. Weekday mornings starting at 5.
And that's the way it is.
Welcome back. You're listening to Rock Your Biz on Whistle FM. I'm here with Tammy Hudgin from Creating Your Presence on Facebook, and we're talking about the do's and don'ts and tips when it comes to Facebook for Business. So just before the break there, we were getting into groups on Facebook. So let's go back to that for a minute. You were saying about, make sure you read the rules and know what you can and can't post. And some have, specialty days and things like that. So I think a lot of people aren't really reading the rules. They're just trying to they're sharing in groups without getting to that. What do you think?
Yeah, what I've noticed has happened is that business owners have just assumed that they can promote their business whenever they want.
Right.
And they don't actually take the time to go in and network. So you have to go in on any of the valuable groups. And when I say valuable, those are the groups that you're truly going to build some relationships in.
Right.
Know what your rules are. There's a couple of groups that specifically tell you Mondays you can do this, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and so forth. What I tell people to do is just really focus on some different categories to give you a variety of things to post about. So tips and tricks that can help another business owner that aren't specific to your business.
Right.
Right? Ask some questions. Try to learn from the others. What can you use to get, what's the best apps maybe out there for time management? Post that kind of a question. What can I do to build my business? Whatever it is, ask some questions. But also bring your personality in.
Right.
The motivational quotes, the inspirational, and if you're like me, maybe on a Friday you'll post a picture of a Caesar right? In a group, right? But it just starts to show who you are.
Right.
So what you do in person at networking events,
right.
I want you to do the same thing in those valuable groups.
Still leads to we do business with people we know, like, and trust, right?
Absolutely.
So is there any guidelines, templates to kind of guide us into what we could post in each group?
Not really. I have my own ideas and, that's what I train about, but there's really nothing out there that tells us. So maybe what you want to do is kind of hook yourself up with someone who is working those groups and follow them, see what they're doing.
Right.
Right. And maybe make some notes and say, okay, I see she posts about this. Okay, I can bring that in. Right. And just mix it up. What I love saying is when you're looking at your computer, imagine a person sitting there.
Right.
And you're sitting at a networking event and you're having a conversation with them, right? What you're talking to them about, incorporate that. Type it.
Right.
Just like someone's sitting right there in front of you. Instead of thinking it's a computer, remember there's people on the other side and they're reading it.
Right.
Right. So if you focus on building the relationship side of things, I get referrals all the time, and there's some of those referrals are people who've never ever met me.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. But they've trusted the person that referred you.
Well, no, they're referring people to me,
wow,
and yet they've
great.
never met me in person themselves.
Wow.
But they've followed me on Facebook.
Right.
They've seen what I do, and they've gotten to know and trust me.
Right.
So they feel confident when someone says they're looking for something to do with Facebook, they're confident in referring me.
Right.
And I built that because I network, because I talk, right? I share ideas, I ask questions, I look, I interact on other people's posts. It takes a couple of seconds just to click like on someone's post.
So what do you think of, I know, one of the great things is we want to plan our, maybe our posts ahead. But what do you think of these automated ones? I remember when they first came out, nobody liked them. You could tell that it came from the automated and people were offended because you were just posting it and trying to engage later. But it seems to be the big thing now.
Yeah, it really comes down to if you're going to embrace all social media sites, you are going to get overwhelmed. So if it means that you have to take on Hootsuite, or the latest one I recently heard about is Buffer, which I've heard rave reviews about. If you're going to manage all social media sites, then you might want to look at one of those type of apps. And basically you go in and you can type out all your posts for the different apps that you're using and schedule them.
Right.
And what's really kind of cool, even though I don't encourage it, you can schedule stuff to go into groups.
Well, I was just going to say that. I know
Yeah.
you could schedule if you're on your business page, but can you do that on your personal or in groups?
No. Okay. So within Facebook,
Yeah.
you can schedule posts on your business page, but that's
Okay.
the only place.
Right.
Okay. However, these apps, the Hootsuite and the Buffer, they will post in groups for you.
Okay.
So where I don't like that is that now I know there's no social engagement. You're really not there.
Because it acknowledges that it was from...
It depends.
Right.
Hootsuite will, if you don't pay for their version,
Right.
it will show that it was posted by Hootsuite.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure about Buffer.
Okay.
Okay, but you'll see
Yeah.
that in different groups. It shows that it was posted by an app, and that tells me that you didn't take the time to even come in and look at what other people are doing.
That's right.
So that turns
I think
me
too
off.
many people do that. They just jump in and post and never come back to engage, right?
And they're really not getting business out of
Right.
it.
So
Right?
what do you think about, our personal pages? Should we keep them separate? Can it help us in any way?
Oh my God, one of my favorite topics. It took me a long time to truly embrace my personal timeline because to me it was all about personal, right?
Right.
And I got rid of that notion in my
Okay.
head. So I do use it from both a business and a personal standpoint.
Okay.
In all honesty, the majority of my business now comes from my personal timeline.
Right.
Okay, so you can use it now. Facebook has certain rules that you can't use your personal profile for commercial use.
Okay.
However, on our business page, we can actually share our posts onto our timeline.
Okay.
They gave us that
Right.
option. So to me, that's the loophole
Okay.
of getting it onto my personal.
Right.
But at the same time, for anyone that follows me or is my friend on Facebook knows that every Monday I do a post that tells you exactly what I'm doing for the week.
Right.
And in that post, I talk about it. I even put that I was going to be doing the radio show, right? So in essence, I'm not promoting my business.
Right.
I'm just sharing my week. But
Right.
ultimately, if you really look at it, I have promoted myself and
Right.
what I do how many times.
But
in
without
that
being in
post.
everybody's face, what
Exactly.
you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You're acknowledging the people you're seeing, things that are happening, but
I'm not saying
look at
use my
business, look at
service or buy
Right.
my product.
Right.
Now, for me personally, though, if you are a friend of mine, I do fill news feeds because I promote other businesses all the time.
Right.
Right. That is just something I love doing. I'm passionate about helping other businesses get out there because of the Facebook algorithms.
Right.
So, ideally, I have no problem mixing the two onto my personal timeline.
Okay.
It's just how you go about doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, if you make that decision, now you have to be careful and think about what am I actually putting out on a status. So I'm going to use a perfect example,
Okay.
this whole political thing that just
Right.
went on. Okay.
You probably wouldn't have wanted to read my post.
But as a business owner, right, I have to look at I have over 3,400 friends.
Right.
So I'm trying to work my profile, my personal profile, to build a business. So
Right.
now I have to look at, and it doesn't matter what my political views are or my religious views. None of that matters in that sense. I just have to focus on being able to sell myself to anyone that's watching me.
Right.
Right. So I have to be careful on really what I put on my personal timeline. If
Right.
you choose to bring the business associates onto your personal
Right.
timeline.
Now, there is a max, right, of how many...
5,000.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
but once you hit that, then I guess you really want to get them over to the business page.
Yeah, well, and I tend
or
to
bus-
do that.
Okay.
So every 3 to 4 months, I go back to my business page and I go through and invite the new people to like my business
Oh,
page.
okay.
So that's a standard thing that I do. It's like I'm an organized freak. So
Right.
I know every 3 to 4 months, I've had how many new friends
Yeah.
over that time frame. I go back in, I invite them to like my page. So eventually I get them onto my page anyways.
So, but does it stay there? So say I invited you to like my page a month ago, but you hadn't done it yet. Can I re-like you or is it
No.
just sitting? Can I
It just sits there.
re-ask?
No.
It just sits
It
there.
sits
so I
there.
can't ask you again.
No.
It'll just be there.
No.
Okay.
So
does it remind you at some point through the feeds?
No. So
Okay.
if I've invited someone and they haven't done it, either
Yeah.
they didn't see the notification or they chose not to.
Right.
And I'm okay. I just move on
Yeah.
from that, right? I'm
Okay.
like, it's cool.
Some point it'll come across their feed and they can like it then.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think about contests? They seem to be very tricky. There's lots of rules. Do we really get into trouble if we do it wrong?
Well, all it takes is one person to report you, and if they report you, they'll shut the contest down without a doubt. There'll be no question.
Okay, so Facebook jail still exists.
It still exists. So yeah, they will shut that down, and you'll get an email. They have locked you out of your account. You'll get an email, and then in order to get back into your account, you have to go through this security process. So here's the reality. This is a tough one, and no matter how much I talk about it, it's a hard one for me to win. Corporations, big corporations, are breaking all the rules when it comes to contests. That's the reality, and nobody's doing anything about it. So, but as a small business owner, if I broke those rules and a competitor reads my contest and they see I'm breaking the rules, they just click one button and it's done. Okay. So I recommend to small business owners, just follow the rules. The biggest one, you're not allowed to ask people to share your contest to be entered to win.
Okay.
You cannot ask them to do that. You cannot ask them to tag a friend.
No?
In order to... No.
I think I've done that.
Everybody does it. But you can't ask them. And there's ways around it. I'm all about loopholes, right?
Okay.
So when you want to do a contest, do the 1, 2, 3. You have to do this, this, this.
Right.
Then you break it down and you put your disclaimer. You have to have a Facebook disclaimer.
But none of the 1, 2, 3s can be tag a friend.
Or share this contest. Okay. And then you can go, you're more than welcome to tell your friends about this contest.
Okay.
It's not part of the 1, 2, 3.
Can't be mandatory.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. So people are doing it anyways.
Right.
I'm just giving everybody that warning that just be prepared that if someone's upset with you, they will report it.
Okay.
Okay. And you could end up getting your page even shut down for it. So just be careful.
Now, what about then? There is those automated ones. There's a few of them like Rafflecopter and stuff like that. So you can put in there that they have to like a page or tag somebody or so. Is that allowed because it's
that's
through a third
party app? As long as you're taking it away from Facebook.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
So let's say you drive them to your website, which is where the contest is actually sitting. Then you can do whatever you want.
I just can't ask it on
Facebook. Okay. As part of your contest.
Okay.
Even though everyone's doing it,
it's
wrong.
Okay.
And you take the risk. And you can take the risk if you want.
Right.
But I just choose for myself. I've spent and invested way too much time to have my page shut down. So not happening.
Absolutely. So is there beneficial places, whether they're groups or different things on Facebook, that we can post our business pages? What do you think of like ladders?
I'm a 50-50 on like ladders.
Okay.
Back in the day, it was important for us because we needed to grow our likes. That was huge.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, we still need likes, but it's not what's really driving our business anymore. It's the reach.
Right.
So I can have, 1,000 likes and take a post and reach 3,000 people. Okay. So when it comes to like ladders, I know there's pros and cons to them, okay? So if you're first starting out with a business page, like ladders are just going to at least help you build some type of an audience.
Right.
But if you've invested 3.5 years or 4 years building a business on there, now true value needs to come out of the likes.
Well, that's what my impression was always, because in the initial stage when you start a page, you need so many likes to be able to give yourself a personalized name. Right?
That's half and half now.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because some of the pages I've created, I can do my custom URL right away.
Okay.
And then some other ones, it tells me I can't
so
until
I
get my
like
25.
ladders for that. But again, I don't, the like ladders are so difficult because you have good intentions when you go in, you post your page, you like everybody before you, but now you got to spend the day going back. You got to remember where that was, which group it was.
Yes.
Go back so you don't miss anybody or offend anybody. And
because people get upset.
They do, but
they really
it's hard to, you could be in 50 groups and now you have to remember which one that like ladder was in to go back and do that. And so I'm not a big fan of them.
I don't see a lot of them anymore. To be honest, I don't see a lot of groups doing them anymore. Right. And any groups that I run, I might throw it in randomly, like once every 6 months or so.
Right.
But otherwise, I don't see a lot of them anymore. It's great when you're just starting out, just so you can start building some type of an audience.
Right.
But later down the road, not so important.
Right. Okay, you're listening to Rock Your Biz here on Whistle FM, and we're getting into Facebook for Business and what benefits you, what helps you, some do's and don'ts. Let's talk video. Is it tricky? Is it worth it?
If you are not doing video, you're
Right.
really behind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Everybody has to do video. So Facebook has really incorporated that into their marketing side of things.
Right.
And what they've done is they've gone the step further and they now have Facebook Live.
Yes.
And the reality is, as a business owner, we get more visibility off of a video than we do a standard post.
Right.
So you need to embrace it, and you
Okay.
don't have to go professional.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have to go get hair and makeup done?
No,
Okay.
you know what? At least look presentable,
Okay,
right?
okay, I can handle that.
For those who know me quite well, they know that in my videos, I have my
Yeah.
pajama bottoms
Okay,
on.
okay.
Yeah, so I just make sure the top of me looks good, and I do
Okay.
my videos. But yeah, you can, you know what, quick videos.
Yeah.
Some great tips that I learned from Lindsay DeSwart.
Yeah.
When it comes to videos, first off, we need to try to keep them under a minute if we can.
Right.
But you want to start with a question,
Yes.
then introduce yourself, and then
Okay.
answer the questions. We have 10 seconds to capture the audience. So if we introduce ourselves at the front end, we've already lost them.
Okay, give me an example of that. I'm going to ask a question before I introduce myself.
Yeah.
Show me how that would
So
go.
I could say, do you have your business page link on your personal timeline? Hi, I'm Tammy Hudgin, and I'm here to help you create a presence. And then I go in and actually answer the question.
Okay, I like that.
So, yeah, so ask the question, because if that question is interesting enough, now they're going to watch the rest of the video. You put
Right.
your intro in the middle.
Right.
So they have to listen to your intro in order to get to the answer.
Okay, gotcha. Because if they
Right?
listen to the intro first, they might have already moved on before they even got...
I got
okay.
10 seconds to capture
Okay.
them. So the question has to capture their interest. And literally, guys, with our phones these days,
Yeah.
they have fantastic quality.
Right.
Quick little video, especially, Facebook Live.
Yes.
If you're going to do it off your business page.
Okay.
It's automatically defaulted. Listen up, business owners. It's automatically defaulted that when you go live on your business page, your fans, every fan will get a notification that you are live.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's now a new default on business pages. So don't be doing them on your personal. Do them on your
Right.
business page,
And
and
then
then you can
share it.
share it later once
Okay.
it's
'Cause
recorded.
it'll stay there.
It stays there. Yeah, but
Okay.
every fan gets a notification that Tammy Hudgin Creating Your Presence just went live.
Okay. Now, would you prefer live over video, or is there certain times that live is good and video is
I'm not
better?
a huge fan of live,
Right.
only because if you're going to do it, you have to have 100% good connection. Otherwise, it's going to break in and out. It might cut you off early.
I saw one like that, and you
right?
could see all the distortion.
Exactly. So those are just fun, quick little lives.
Okay.
Now you can do a live where you're sitting stationary at home and you know your connection is good. Absolutely go for it. I personally prefer to pre-record my videos and then I bring them into YouTube, as well as uploading them manually into my
Right.
Facebook, which is another trick. Don't bring a link from YouTube onto your post.
Okay.
Okay, because Facebook is not a huge fan of YouTube. So you want to manually upload your videos onto your business page. You'll get more reach and you'll get stats on the video.
So we'll manually load those, but for Instagram, they'll share nicely anything you put on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, let's we did talk a little bit about, make sure you've got some personality and you're showing that through. Do we do that in our business pages as well, or do they stay?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yes. I think you need to encompass that 80-20 rule on our business page even. So
Okay.
20% of the time, I'm going to sell. 80%, I'm going to provide value to my clients. So I'm going to bring my personality into it.
Okay.
You can do that with visual posters of yourself and get pictures done. Do quotes that have you in them.
Right.
Articles that offer additional tips and tricks that are around your business, but not specific to your product that you sell.
Okay.
Inspirational stuff, whatever it might be. If you're attending networking events, put some pictures up of the girls that you were just with.
Right.
That kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then the 20% of the time, sell.
Okay. So can we check stats and see, we can't tell probably exactly who's checking our
No.
page, but maybe just demographic wise?
Yeah. So once you reach 30 likes on your business page, now on the weekend, it seems on a new business page, the Insights tab was already there.
Okay.
So I know Facebook's going through some changes. However, normally when you reach 30 likes, just above your cover photo on your business page, you'll have an Insights tab.
Okay.
If you go into that tab, it provides stats on your business page. It breaks it down. The biggest tab is the one called People. Breaks it down by gender, age group, where people actually live.
Oh, okay.
So now you can look and see if you're actually getting the right market.
Right.
You know your target market. Is that who
Okay.
you're capturing?
Okay.
So you really, as you're building your page, you really need to go into looking through your insights and understand exactly what's happening with your
Right.
business page.
Okay. So in, maybe one sentence, is it worth paying for ads?
Yes.
Okay, you could have elaborated a little
I know.
there. Okay.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's not something that I encourage you to do all the time because you can build a page without paying for ads.
Okay.
But there are some times when you have some strategic ads you need to get out there, or you need to generate some email subscriptions.
Okay.
So then I would say invest $20.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks so much, Tammy. So much information in 1 hour. So if you have some personal questions, maybe more towards your business and what you need to do, please join us on our Facebook chat on November 20th, where Tammy will spend an hour with us on Facebook and answer every single one of your questions. So again, you can find that all out at rockyourbiz.ca, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Rock Your Biz with Tracy Sheldrake on Whistle FM. If you'd like to get more information about the various networking programs, all you have to do is drop by our website at